Have you ever wished for, like, a GPS for your inner life? A real step-by-step guide to profound personal growth? Well, today, we're going to dive into an ancient master text that is exactly that, the Yogacara Bhumi Shastra. Think of it as this incredibly detailed blueprint for spiritual development, a grand roadmap for the journey from wherever you are right now to ultimate realization.
And get this, right from the get-go, the text just lays it all out for us. This quote basically says, the whole path has 4 main areas, and those are broken down into 7 distinct stages. So for today, we're going to chart the critical first leg of this incredible journey together.
All right, so where do you even start with something this huge? Well, the text begins with the very first stage, and it answers a really fundamental question. What are the ideal conditions you need to even get on the path in the first place?
This foundational stage is called the perfection of birth. Now, let's be super clear here. This isn't about being born flawless or perfect, not at all. It's about having the right combination of your own inner capacities and the right kind of outer supports. It's about creating the most fertile ground possible for your practice to actually take root and, flourish.
And what's really cool here is just how logical the text is. It splits these 10 conditions into 2 super simple categories. You've got 5 that are internal, all about your own personal makeup, and 5 that are external, which are about the world you happen to find yourself in.
So first up, the internal factors. This is basically your personal toolkit. Are you human and in a place where you can even access these teachings? Are your senses and your mind sharp enough to actually get them? And crucially, are you free from any really heavy baggage? Past actions or super rigid beliefs that would just act as a total roadblock.
All right, so then you have the external conditions. See, it's not enough to be personally ready. The opportunity has to actually exist out there in the world. This means a great teacher has shown up, the authentic teachings, the Dharma, are being shared, and, this part is key, there's a living, breathing community where people are actually practicing and getting results.
Okay, but here's the kicker. Having all the perfect conditions in the world, that's just the starting line. It's pure potential. Absolutely nothing happens until you take that first active step. And this is the real turning point of the whole journey.
And this just perfectly illustrates that shift, right? We're moving from a state of passive potential, having the fertile ground and a perfectly good car, to active engagement. It's time to stop just admiring the car and actually, grab the map and turn the key.
So this next stage is called perfection of hearing the true Dharma. And the text is super clear about this. It is a two-way street. It's not just about how well the teaching is delivered, it's just as much about how well you are prepared to actually receive it.
So how do we listen the right way? Well, the text gives us this very practical checklist. To truly hear the teachings, you've got to clear your mind of these 4 big roadblocks: arrogance, contempt, feeling like you're not good enough, or just being totally distracted. Without an open and focused mind, the most profound wisdom in the world just can't land.
Which, of course, brings us to the biggest question of all, right? For any journey, where are we actually headed? Once the conditions are right and we're listening correctly, we have to set our destination. The third branch of the path addresses this with absolute total clarity.
And on this, the text doesn't mince words. The entire practice has to be undertaken for one single purpose: attaining nirvana, that state of ultimate peace and liberation. It's not for status, or reputation, or followers, or any other worldly stuff. Your internal compass has to be locked on to that one true north: freedom.
Okay, so once that foundation is solid and your motivation is pure, that's when something really new can finally begin to ripen within you. This is where true wisdom starts to dawn.
So this 4th stage describes the maturation of liberation wisdom. This is the process where the seeds of wisdom, which you planted back in the fertile ground of the first steps, finally start to sprout and mature. It's this living process, and it's held up by 2 huge pillars: a calm, steady mind and, razor-sharp insight. And check this out. The text gives us this incredible 10-step ladder for how wisdom actually matures. Just look at how this flows. It starts with getting support from good people and really loving and questioning the teachings. But then, right around step 5, you see this pivot. You start to see the limits of worldly success, and that leads to this deep desire for something more. And this just blossoms into a powerful reorientation of your whole life, actively working to cultivate a pure mind, not for any other reason, but for its own sake. Okay, let's zoom out for a sec and just look at the journey we've mapped out so far. You can really see how each stage just logically and necessarily flows right from the one before it. This table really nails the whole sequence. You start with the foundation, just having the potential. Then comes the activation, getting the instructions. Next is the direction, setting that ultimate goal. And finally, all of that leads to development, the first real stirrings of inner transformation and wisdom. You just can't skip a step. So what we get from this ancient text is, honestly, an unbelievably clear roadmap. It shows that the path to profound wisdom isn't some mysterious or random thing, but a structured, logical progression with very distinct stages. And really, the big question it leaves for all of us is, well, it's personal. Looking at this blueprint, where do we find ourselves on the map, and what's our very next step?